Hi, welcome to another episode of Duck Chatter. On this week's episode, I'm going to talk about call selection, all the way from our lowest price call to our highest price call, and all the way from the softest call to the loudest call. First on the list, this is our least expensive call and a very soft call. I have a double reed timber insert. This is called a trash talker. These are about $19.95. Real good call, real inexpensive, very soft. Very good call for a beginner or a kid. We typically sell a lot of these to kids just to give them something to practice and learn on, and it's not too expensive but still sounds really good. Alright, next on the list is a diamond wood poly slash Bacote poly. We sell tons of these. These are kind of the mid-range call. They're $54.95. They have a wood barrel with a poly insert, double reed, just like that same insert I just picked up there. But it's in a wood barrel, which makes it look a little nicer, and it makes it a little bit more mellow on the sound. These are probably our #1 selling call. We sell tons of these things. Very good sounding call, very good price range. And next on the list, moving on up to from a $54.95 call to $129.95 DRT acrylic. So this soundboard was actually based off of that poly double reed, but it's been slightly modified. And these you get a little bit more range. You get a little bit more volume, and definitely a lot better. You know, acrylic, very durable, and you get a lot of different colors you get to choose from. Now these will get a little bit softer on the bottom, easier than the poly call. Good range on that little call. We sell a ton of those too. Okay, moving on up the ladder, and actually this will go down in price compared to the one I just showed you. These are $84.95. It's a Bacote timber. To me, a wood call is by far the most realistic sound you can get out of a duck call. It's real mellow, nasally sounding, just produces quality duck sounds. But there are issues or techniques with a wood call you have to do to keep it that way. For one, wood swells naturally. So moisture is going to absorb into this and it's going to swell. So you got to take it apart every day, just like in my previous video, we talked about that. But anyway, take care of the call and it will stay in tune. And just to give you an idea on range and tone difference in this one. Very good little call. Sell a ton of those too. Okay, we're going to go back up in price. This is a acrylic timber. They're $129.95. Now the difference between the wood and this, you're going to get a sharper sound, a little bit louder, and you don't have the issues of swelling or getting stuck together or anything like that. And as you can tell, this has a little bit more volume, a little sharper sound. That's the acrylic timber. Okay, going back up in volume just a little bit. This is our double reed meat hanger. So this is just slightly louder than the DRT acrylic, has a bigger exhaust, and the soundboard's a little different. And this is a $139.95 price range, unless you get a limited stock or something. But this gives you a little bit more range than the DRT, a little bit more volume. I'll just give you an example. And the thing about these double reed calls, most anyone can pick one up and make it sound like a duck. They're very easy to operate. They don't take a lot of air, and that's why we basically started selling a lot more double reeds in the past few years than single reeds, just because most people can pick them up and make them sound good. Okay, on up the list, we have an ODB, which is basically built off the Breaker. It has the same soundboard, just has a little bit more hold on it for to get softer on the bottom, a little bit more of the whines and squeals, and it goes up another notch in volume. Same price as the one I just showed you, but has a little bit more volume. Next on the list is the Breaker, which it's going to have just a shade more volume than the ODB, just because the way it's tuned. It allows a little bit more air through than the ODB. Good deep sound. This is my favorite call. This is one I actually hunt with, I'm going to say 70% of the season, and then I go to a timber if it gets late in the season or birds get shy or in volume, need to decrease my volume, just to let you hear the difference. My favorite call. Okay, next on the list, this is going to be a little bit in between the volume of the Breaker and the XLT and Acrylic, and we also make the Breaker in wood call as well, but this is a wood XLT. This is a Bacote. They're $89.95. I love XLT too. I hunted with XLTs probably first 6-7 years I worked here before we had the Breaker out. But anyway, I'll give you a little rundown on it. Now, XLT is probably our most versatile call that we have, because up and down the scale it can do it, and if you can control the call and put the right air pressure and stuff in it, it will do a lot of things. It's one of our biggest sellers, and it's won a lot of meat calling competitions as well. Okay, next up is the Pure Meat. This is kind of like the difference between the Breaker and the ODB. Same soundboard, the XLT and the Pure Meat, same exact soundboard, but it's tuned different and cut out slightly different, so it has more hold on it. It gets a little bit soft on the bottom, but it's not quite as loud as the XLT is, or at least the Acrylic XLT. And you can hear that this is a little bit sharper sounding than, of course, the Bacote XLT that I just blew. Okay, next is actually the XLT Acrylic. So this is going to blow very similar to that Pure Meat, but it's going to be a little bit louder volume and not quite as soft on the bottom. Very well sounding call. It's hard not to like an XLT. Okay, the next call, going up in volume but down in price. This is a poly cut down, and we sell a lot of these. These things got a really good mellow sound. They're not quite as loud as most of the other cut downs on the market, because we designed the reed on it a little different to give it more of a mix of a J-frame call, but still have a cut down sound. So it's a little bit more mellow. These things sound really good, really ducky. Really, really good sound on those little calls. Okay, going up in price and in volume. This is a acrylic open water. They're $139.95. Volume's going to be a higher pitch, quite a bit more than that cut down I just blew. These will do a ringing hell call, but have a loud ducky sound in the middle, and can get soft, not as quite as soft as of course the other hunting calls, but I'll give you a little rundown on it. Now I'm going to ring it. That is the open water call. Very loud. Okay, the loudest hunting call that we have is going to be our ace in the hole. No doubt. It's got good volume, and we actually have been working on this for the past year or so, trying to modify it to make it better. And finally, about a week or so ago, after several trials and error, I got it pretty much where I think it sounds the best. It's got a decent amount of hold. It can get soft on the bottom. Doesn't take an extremely amount of air as it did before, but you got a better ducky sound than our original model. So we're going to be talking about that in a later episode too. This is the ace in the hole acrylic. And these are $144.95. I think I have covered all our selection of calls. Of course, all of them's not out here. You got Wood and ODB, Wood and Breaker, Wood and Pure Meat. We make also a boss call, which is the loudest call we make, is a competition call just for Main Street or Stuttgart calling. Other than that, I hope that helps everybody out. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us at the shop, send us a Facebook message or Instagram message, and be sure to continue to follow us on Duck Chatter. And we thank you and have a good day.